It's time for another Out and About with Jamie Grout Shortcast. This is a shorter version of the podcast we just did with Jordan Allsup, who is director of the Grinnell Parks and Recreation Department here in Grinnell. And Jordan is with me to talk about the all-inclusive playground that you have. Tell us about that, Jordan.
Yeah, it's officially open. It's been open for about a month. We just had a ribbon cutting ceremony. Essentially, we had a community member come to us in 2021 about the need for inclusive playground equipment for children with disabilities. And after months of research and settling on a product, we've raised funds for about $280,000 project and was able to put in 6 amenities that are all inclusive for all children and able to play and learn together.
This is great, Jordan. And you said that, this playground equipment that you already had was technically ADA accessible, but still not quite what was needed according to the parents.
Yeah. There's a difference between meeting ADA standards and then being inclusive. So this new equipment allows those children to play on their own in their own world without necessarily having to have that parent or caretaker there to transfer them onto pieces of equipment.
And you were talking about these pieces of playground equipment too. They're unique in and of themselves, aren't they? Maybe you could describe that.
Yeah. So, there's ramp access, there's a ground level wheelchair or a ground level merry-go-round with wheelchair access there. We have different sensory stations for children that may need those, that could be on the autistic spectrum, that, kind of gravitate toward those type of functions. And then we have a dance and play arch that is inclusive for all, that is interactive with, electric gaming and sensors and stuff with a colorful floor. So.
You said the arch is kind of like the one in St. Louis.
Yeah, that style of arch, but a lot smaller.
And it has all these different themes, and it can even be used in the wintertime, right?
Correct. Yeah, there's seasonal games. There's a Christmas dance freeze game that's going to be coming out. So, yeah, we're really excited about that piece.
Well, that is fantastic. How were the funds for this raised, Jordan?
Yeah, so we had city funding, obviously. We had private donations totaling almost $280,000 in grants.
Wow. Yeah. And before this whole thing got off the ground, circle back to kind of the genesis of the whole thing. And you folks did a little research and you traveled to the Dutch Village for that.
We did. The Pella had just opened an inclusive playground here a few years ago. That was the closest one to us. And we took some ideas from there that really kind of jump-started us to selecting a company that we wanted to work with, specifically the Dance and Play Arch. Quite frankly, Grinnell, that is the closest one to Grinnell, which is a 45-minute drive. Other than that, families have to travel to the metropolitan areas for these playgrounds.
Wow, that is just amazing. And folks, if you have a child that has a disability, whether it is known or unknown, right?
Correct.
Whether it's seen or unseen, bring them over to Central Park in Grinnell and find out about this whole thing, because it's something that sounds like it's needed and there aren't a whole lot of them around.
Correct. Yeah. It's a great space. We've had a lot of usage out there. The nice thing about that Dance and Play Arch is I can track play statistics on it. And I know for the first Saturday that was open, it was played with 9 hours.
Is that right?
Correct.
That's great. So kids have already been using it.
Yep.
Well, that is absolutely fantastic. And it needs no further funding. Maybe some of your future programs will, but this is all set, right?
This is all set. Yep.
Okay. And we have maybe about another minute or two left. Tell us about some of the future goals, some of the visionary things that you have and you and the park board have thought of for Grinnell Parks and Rec.
Yeah. So obviously we're going to continue to look at every avenue to update our parks and facilities and our rec programming. One of the big things on our docket here is updating our master plan, which will give opportunities for community members to provide feedback and input on the direction we want to go for the next 10 years.
Have you had some feedback from community members on various different things yet? Or are you asking for that?
We will be asking for that. So we've hired a consultant firm that will be handling the community engagement part of it. So we're really excited to get that process started here in December.
Okay, Jordan, if people want to find out more about the Grinnell Parks and Rec Department, how can they do that?
Yeah, if you go to the city's website, there's a Parks and Recreation Department link there. And it has a bunch of information, our contact information, phone number, different links to like registering for our programs, things that talk about our facilities and what we have to offer.
Well, so again, if you are the parent or relative somehow of a child that might be a challenge physically or mentally in some way too on the autistic spectrum, for heaven's sakes, bring them over to Central Park in Grinnell and have them check out the Inclusive Playground. Jordan, thank you very much for chatting with me today. And this is going to wrap it up for this edition of Out and About with Jamie Grout, the shortcast version. Check it out on outandaboutwithjamiegrout.com and also on our YouTube channel, which is the same title, Out and About with Jamie Grout. And I ask that if you watch it on the YouTube channel that you subscribe. For the longer version of this whole story, check out the podcast on the website and also on Spotify, Amazon, iHeart, and Apple Podcasts. Check you next time. See ya.